Testing. Is this working?
Can you hear Talia through the mic?
Is this good?
Test.
Is this good? Testing.
Okay.
Generally what happens, even if she does. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Do I need a mic or?
Check, check, 1, 2.
Check on the mic. Check, 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 check. Such a big voice in me. Lovely voice. Wish I didn't have to bother with this one. Check, check, check. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to B'nai Israel. I think you all know this is B'nai Israel. I don't really have any visitors, but it's all family tonight, which makes it very special. I'm joined on the Bima tonight with Dahlia Greenberg. She has a break from school, and we've been very lucky to have her share her lovely voice with us. So. But we want you all to join. You don't get a chance to just sit back and listen to her. You really have to join us, so please do. We're going to welcome Shabbat on page 128 with Hine Matov. And it truly is great to all be together. Oh. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine matovu Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. We turn to page 120 as we welcome Shabbat with candle lighting. Page 120. Bobby and Babs lead us this evening for at least until the end of the winter in candle lighting. Page 120.
As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'hadlikner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Please join with us. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we'll miss you very much.
Here you're going to Florida, and after all this time, we finally got a lighter that works. And we turn to page 138 for L'Chadodi, found on pages 138 and 139. We sing the first, the second, and the 9th verses.
Lecha, lecha doti, lekrat kala, panei shabbat nikabela. Lecha, lecha doti, lekrat kala, panei shabbat nikabela la la. Lecha, lecha doti, lekrat kala, panei shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha doti lekrat kala panei shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamichad Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem al tiferet beliti la la la. Lecha lecha doti lekrat kala panei shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha doti lekrat kala panei shabbat nikabela. Lekrat shabbat lechuven elcha, ki mekor habracha merosh b'kedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat yehi la 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 lecha lecha doti lekrat kala panei shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha doti lekrat kala panei shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha utzola, tohem uneam sigula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha doti lekrat kala panei shabbat nikabela. lecha lecha dodi lekrat kala Panei panei Shabbat nikabe la 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 lecha lecha dodi lekrat kala Panei panei Shabbat nikabe la lecha lecha dodi lekrat kala Panei panei Shabbat nikabe la.
Page 146, we rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 149, we read together in English at the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMa'ariv HaRavim. The top of page 151, we read together in English. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta, page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anohi mitzavecha ayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'leftecha b'derek u'shok becha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yodecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mizuzot betecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzei
Tiefchem, Me'eretz Mitzrayim, Lihiot lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem.
And at page 157, we read responsively the second reading on the page. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and peace. Then shall we rejoice as we look ahead, singing on the shores of the sea.
Page 158.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedor ba'kodesh Nora tehilot osef eleh Nora tehilot osef eleh Malachut teharahu v'necha b'ke'olam L'fnei Moshe Zeli anu ve'ameru Zeli anu ve'ameru Adonai imlo le'olam vahed Adonai imlo le'olam vahed.
Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Page 160, I read towards the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. On page 162, the Shamru will be found at the top of the page.
Beshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Beshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam U'bayom hashmi'i Shabbat b'nafash Shabbat b'nafash Shabbat b'nafash Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We rise, the tefillah begins, page 164, continues on the right-hand pages. We join together with Dahlia and Linda.
Adonai sifatei tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Gula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hoser U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rafeh Holim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mechayei Me'emunato L'Shemei Afar, Michamocha Bal Givurot U'Migdol Melech, Melech Me'mit U'Mechayei U'Mazmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman atah L'Hayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. This week's Torah portion includes the well-known verse, "A new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. What have you done for me lately? How quickly they forget." One supposition is that Pharaoh's ignorance of Joseph was grounded in the people Israel's forgetfulness. The lesson: we must actively instruct our own, teaching what our past was and what we want our future to be. That's what we do each service and each Shabbat. We reach for prayers that might help guide us and our world to a time of serenity, security, hope, and engagement. May we never forget these lessons for ourselves and for the generations to come. Our prayer, Shalom Rav, for abundant peace, page 178.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Yisrael Avcha Tasim Leolam Ki Atahu Melech Hadon L'kol HaShalom L'kol HaShalom Ki Atahu Melech Hadon L'kol HaShalom Shalom Rav Yisrael Avcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Yisrael Avcha Tasim Leolam B'tov B'necha Livarech Et Amecha Yisrael Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך Shalom Shalom Tasim Leolam Shalom Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim
Silent Prayer, page 180.
Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom,
we turn to page 364 for our Torah service. We rise. David Wise opens our ark.
Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato.
Page 366.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlu Adonai iti Umeromema Shemo Yavdav Lecha Adonai Hagidula Bihagibura
Later, after you get raised.
Bihanetzach Behaho Kiko Bashamayim Uvaretz Kiko Bashamayim Uvaretz Lecha Adonai Amalacha Ve'ani Na'aseh Lekol Erosh Yihiyu Leratzon Imrefi Ve'egyom Libi Lefanecha Yihiyu Leratzon Imrefi Ve'egyom Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Ve'goali Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Ve'goali Yihiyu Leratzon
David, if you could put this on the reader's table.
Ve'egyom libi lefanecha Yihiyu leratzon imrefi Ve'egyom libi lefanecha.
Thank you. Please be seated. I think it's page 389 or 398. I just reversed it. 398, thank you. And 399 in the Torah commentaries. Exodus chapter 3, Rivi'i in the Tikkun. We're going to be reading chapter 3, verses 1 through 10. And it's most appropriate that Sandy and Paul come forward for this Aliyah this evening. Sandy is familiar with this text. A mere 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
I did it 4 years old.
Oh, okay. We had the privilege of her reading it for us, and so it's a special anniversary of sorts. And a few years before that, it was a bat mitzvah.
Well, no, I didn't do this for my bat mitzvah. I did this for my 65th birthday.
65th birthday.
And now it's my 70th, so.
Oh, okay.
That's how I know it was 5 years ago. Baruch et Adonai Hamorach.
Baruch Adonai Hinenu Moshe haya roe et son yitro hotno kohen midyan. And Moses was shepherding. Moses had left Egypt. He's now in Midian. He's married, and he was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law Jethro being a priest of Midian. V'yinhaget hatzon achar hamidbar v'yavo el har ha'elohim horeva. And he went. He was doing this in the wilderness, and he came to the mountain of God, to Horeb, also known as Sinai. V'yera malach Adonai elav, and an angel of God appeared to him, b'labat esh mitoch hasneh, from a flame of the fire amidst the bush. Vayar v'hine hasene bi'er ba'esh v'hasne enenu uchal. And he looked, and behold, the bush was burning, but the bush was not being consumed by the fire. Vayomer Moshe asura na ve'er'e et hamora hagadol hazeh madua lo yivar hasne. And Moses said, I must turn aside and look at this wondrous thing. Why is it that the bush is not burning up? Vayar Adonai kisar lirot. And when Adonai saw that Moses had turned aside to look, v'yikra elav, and God called to him, Elohim, mitoch hasneh, from midst the bush. Vayomer Moshe, Moshe, vayomer hineni. And he called to Moses twice, Moses, Moses, and he said, here I am. Vayomer al tikrav alom, shal na'alecha me'al raglecha ki hamakom asher ata omed alav admat kodeshu. And he said, take off the sandals from your feet and don't come further, and take off the sandals from your feet, because the ground upon which you are standing upon holy ground. Linda does this with the kids, that song. Vayomer Anochi Elohei Avicha. And God continues saying, I am the God of your father. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Vayaster Moshe Panav Ki Yare Mehabit El HaElohim. And Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look upon God. Vayomer Adonai Ra'iti et oni ami asher b'Mitzrayim. And God said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. Ve'et sokatam shamati, and I have heard their suffering. Mipnei nogshav, from their taskmasters. Ki yadati et machochav, and their sufferings. Ve'ered lahatzilo miyad Mitzrayim, and I will come down to rescue them from Egypt. V'ha'loto min ha'aretz hahi, and to bring them from that land, el eretz tova urchava, to a good and spacious land, el eretz vat chalav udvash, a land flowing with milk and honey, el makom haknani v'hachiti v'ha'amari v'ha'perizi v'hachivi v'ha'yevusi, the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites, the Hivites and the Jebusites. V'yata hine tzakat b'nei Yisrael ba'elai. And behold, the cries of the children of Israel have come to me. V'gam ra'iti et halachatz asher Mitzrayim lochatzim. And I have seen the suffering, the oppression that the Egyptians have oppressed them, otam. V'yata lacha v'asholcha el paro. And now come, and I will send you to Pharaoh. V'hotze et ami, and you shall bring out my people, Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, mi Mitzrayim, from Egypt. be happy. And Paul, thank you. Adam and Eric, we invite you forward to raise and dress our Torah. We rise as the Torah itself will be raised. V'zot HaTorah will be found on the bottom of page 370.
V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael.
Adam, we're just going to change your hand. The buckle right in the front.
V'yad Moshe la 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 la
If you look in the ark. Page 374, Eitz Chaim, bottom of the page.
Eitz Chaim. Sorry.
V'tom hecha meushar derafecha dafenom v'chol netivotecha shalom hashivenu Adonai v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you. Misha Berach will be found on page 371. Each Shabbat we pray on behalf of dear ones within and beyond our congregational family. I invite you now to raise your hand, and after I silently acknowledge you, speak the names of persons for whom we should pray this Shabbat. So you're not surprised that in the Torah, Moses is presented as extraordinarily perceptive. But it's even worth seeing some of the contrasts. Another great person in the Torah is Hagar, but she couldn't see what was before her when she was out in the wilderness, which was a well of water that would save the life of her son. Abraham, another great figure in the Torah, couldn't see what was before him, a ram caught by the thicket by its horns that Abraham would sacrifice instead of his son Isaac. Moses, by contrast, immediately turns to see the marvelous sight of a burning bush not consumed. Not only that, he doesn't jump to immediate conclusions. He doesn't rush to put out the flame. While we, the reader, know that Moses will carry out his mission successfully, at that moment in the story, Moses doesn't necessarily seem to have the best resume to do so. He's living quietly in exile. He doesn't have his own business. He doesn't really have an independent living. Instead, he's married, working for his father-in-law as a shepherd of his father-in-law's flocks. It is here, way from Egypt in the wilderness, that Moses views this unconsumed bush, which is aflame. What follows are some midrashim, some rabbinic understandings of the metaphor of just what it is that Moses was seeing. And on the page, which we had them outside, hopefully folks were able to grab one of them, it says, "An angel of Adonai appeared to him in a blazing fire out of a bush. He gazed, and there was a bush all aflame, yet the bush was not consumed. Moses said, 'I must turn aside to look at this marvelous sight. Why doesn't the bush burn up?' When Adonai saw that he had turned aside to look, God called to him out of the bush, 'Moses, Moses.' And he answered, 'Here I am.'" So our rabbis lovingly dissected every word of this encounter for its variety of meanings. And I've attached in parenthesis to those, some of these midrashim, or these perspectives, what I think is really going on here. So it says in a flame of fire. And so the question is, why does God appear in a flame of fire? And one of our sages teaches to embolden him, to seize the flame, and that will make him bolder. In other words, that the fire represents inspiration. Another explanation, it says in the Midrash, it says in a flame, labat, of fire, and playing on that Hebrew word labat, which is in this flame of fire, and it says from the upper half of the bush. In other words, just as in a flame there is an upper half, the word of the fire, the word lev, which we know the word heart, is from the upper part of one's body. So just as the heart is the upper half of a person. So in other words, appearing in the flaming part, in the upper half part, was a way of instilling that sense of heart, that sense of conscience in Moses. And that's what the metaphor is driving at. A third, from within the bush, God speaks to Moses within the bush. Rabbi Joshua Bar Korcha, to teach that there is no empty place devoid of the Shekhinah, not even a lowly thorn bush. In other words, that the idea here is that God is present everywhere, that God's speaking from a shrub to show that there's no place where there isn't some sense of God. Rabbi Eliezer said, just as the thorn bush is the lowliest of all trees in the world, so too Israel were lowly and downtrodden in Egypt. So in other words, God is speaking to Moses from something small, short to the ground, downtrodden, and that God is symbolizing that God is with the humble and the oppressed, as Israel was oppressed in Egypt. The message, solidarity. Rabbi Yossi said, just as the thorn bush is the hardest of all trees, and any bird that enters into it does not come out unharmed, so too servitude in Egypt was harsher to God more than any other servitude in the world, meaning that it symbolizes the harshness of things and therefore create a sense of empathy. Alternatively, just as the thorn bush grows near any water, so too Israel only grows in the merit of Torah, which is called water. As it says in Isaiah, "Ho, any thirsty one, go to water." Meaning here that just as bushes grow by water, need water to live, Torah is understood in our tradition to be something which we need. It's also akin to water, so that the message is that just as the bush needs water, as it were, Moses is doing this, teaching us about our need for life-sustaining Torah. That is, learning provides justice and compassion. Alternatively, just as a thorn bush grows in a garden or in a river, so too Israel are in this world and the next world. That idea of hope and fortitude of Israel being in the world to come. Alternatively, you can see there are lots of midrashim, lots of perspectives. Just as the thorn bush produces thorns and roses, so Israel contains righteous and wicked people. That it doesn't say that we are a perfect people, and that the symbolism of the bush here now becomes, well, there's thorns in the bush, there's roses in the bush, and Israel has both as well. In other words, that the symbolism is to give us proper expectation. Rabbi Pinchas HaKohen, the son of Rabbi Chama, said, just as this thorn bush, if someone puts his hand in it, does not feel anything, but when he takes it out of it, gets scratched. If you've ever put your hand into a rose bush, maybe not so bad when you're trying to extract your hand, maybe you can get scratched. So too, when Israel went down to Egypt, no one noticed anything, but when they went out, the Lord plagued Pharaoh. In other words, when they went out, as it were, and Israel goes out, it takes some of the bounty of Egypt when it leaves, foretelling comeuppance. Alternatively, from within the thorn bush, he hinted the word for bush in Hebrew is hasneh, and if you add up the letters of the word hasneh, you get 120. And Moses lives to the age of 120. So this is, as it were, a way of foreshadowing his days. Finally, why did the Holy One of Blessing reveal God's self to Moses in this way? Because he, Moses, thought in his heart, saying, maybe the Egyptians will destroy Israel. Therefore, the Holy One of Blessing revealed God's self in a thorn bush that was burning but not consumed. God said to him, just as the thorn bush is burning but is not consumed, so too the Egyptians will not be able to destroy Israel. So in other words, resoluteness, that the symbolism here is that Israel itself will not be consumed by its enemies. I ask you to think, how do you read this metaphor? There are many different ways, and none of them are mutually exclusive in understanding this text. Judaism is about making associations with past understandings, especially the Torah's narrative, to inform our present. So, if you're perceptive like Moses, you'll notice the burning bush motif on the back wall of our sanctuary. How might we understand it? Or when you look at it, how might you understand it? Our friends at JTS and the conservative movement like this idea of the burning bush so much that the bush burned unconsumed, that it's inexhaustible, the sense of faith, that they made it the logo of their movement. I'm not making this up. Ask Rabbi Silver. Notice that our eternal light is an ongoing flame. What does that suggest about metaphors of faith? And finally, in Eitz Chaim, in the Tree of Life commentary, Rabbi Harold Kushner concludes his entry for this topic about the burning bush, and he says, how long must one watch a burning bush before realizing that it is not being consumed by the flames? How many miracles might be happening around us, but we, in our haste, never stop to notice them. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. We're going to turn to page 586 for the Aleinu. Noah, we're going to invite you forward to open our ark. Page 586, the Aleinu that we chant is the second paragraph down on the page. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'gei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Please be seated. Thank you. Page 591.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad.
Page 598. We now call to mind our own beloved dead. I ask that those in mourning or remembering the anniversary of the death of a loved one and who have trekked to the sanctuary during Shiva or Shloshim or for Yartzeit, should you be able, please rise when their name is mentioned. We note the deaths in the last day of Sylvia Schwartz, mother of Yuri, and of Amos Oz, the cousin of Sam Klausner. During Shloshim, we remember Rosalie Koster. This Shabbat, remember the Yartzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Herman Alexander, Alfred Deutsch, Leo Eisenberg, William Epstein, David Fisher, Flora Goldstein Greenblatt, Nathan Jarmack, Stella Cohen Capstein, Kate Leopold, Ida Medina, Janet Myers Hennick, Sylvia Siegel, Peter Horn Solomon, Gertrude Steiglitz, Joseph Wurzberger, and Nathan Yarish. If there are additional names to mention for Kaddish this Shabbat, please feel free to rise and say their names now. Practice within our congregation is to further consider these people. If you're comfortable so doing, we now invite you to share with this minion a brief reflection or reference about a dear one on our Kaddish list.
Another year, it's another sweater. I'm very comfortable wearing sweaters that my mother has made. This past September, my grandson was married. Couldn't be with us. I just, however, carry with me the needlepoint purse that she had made. So all these things do make it just a little bit easier to remember with fondness and great love.
When I was listening to the radio and learned about the death of Amos Oz, they played an interview with him, and he was asked, "Do you think there'll ever be peace between the Jews and the Palestinians?" And he said, "It's inevitable."
Each
Good.
Shabbat, We also mentioned 6 names amongst the 6 million. Mikhail Faktorovitz, Yevsei Kruglansky, Boris Ostrovsky, Knievel Fain, Chaim Sutzkover, and Benek Chivsetsky. In remembrance and solidarity, and on behalf of those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, we now invite all present to rise if you are able. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, B'chayer chon v'yomei chon, v'v'chayer d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mavarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam levracha, may their memories be for blessing, and let us say amen. Please be seated. On page 631 is Non Como Vuestro Dio, our Ladino version of Ein Kelohenu. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkenu, Ein Kemashienu, Non Como Vuestro Dio, Non Como Vuestro Señor, Non Como Vuestro Rey, Non Como Vuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Chadonenu, mi Chemalkenu, mi Kamashienu, Ken como vuestro Dios, Ken como vuestro Señor, Ken como vuestro Rey, Ken como vuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Makenu, no del Moshienu. Loremos nuestro Dios, loremos nuestro Señor, loremos nuestro Rey, loremos nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendicho nuestro Dios, bendicho nuestro Señor, bendicho nuestro Rey, bendicho nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tu es nuestro Dios, tu es nuestro Señor, tu es nuestro Salvador, tu es nuestro Salvador. Jonathan?
Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Jonathan Kapstein. I want to thank the service leaders tonight. Lovely music, lovely voice, fascinating Midrashim. Thank you. Any good news, birthdays, anniversaries? Speak. Wonderful. Terrific. Saturday, tomorrow, December 28th, 10 a.m. Torah study. Friday, January 4th, 7:30 p.m. Erev Shabbat services, a birthday Shabbat. Upcoming events, January 16th. The Sisterhood will be holding its next book group. The discussion will focus on The Immoralists by Chloe Benjamin and will be moderated by Shuri Kipperman. Also, if you shop at any of the Laban supermarkets, a small chain of very high-quality food in Woodbury or Watertown, and I think they're reopening in Southbury, please save the receipts. They give us back a percentage of their sales when we present the receipts. And finally, tonight's oneg is sponsored by the B'nai Israel family. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Provisions will be found on page 123.
Lovely voice. Thank you,
We
dear.
join together with Dahlia and with Linda in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai